you've hit a wall. What happened after?
Yeah, I think that particular year, because it's a couple of years ago, I think I hit that wall now. Possibly the last time I actually saw you in real life. I was going to events and things, but not with any real strategy or purpose. I just kind of thought, right, well, if I go to all these events and if I network, that's what people do. So I'll do that. And though I was coming across other tutors at some of the events and stuff, and they were fairly new in the industry and they were absolutely loving what they were doing and thriving and things like that. And I was feeling really lost and thinking, why don't I love what I do? I'm like, well, what was I at that point? 8 years down the line, maybe 9 years down the line. I was like,
I used to love this. Like, what happened, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. I was like, why can't I have what they've got? But then so is that just newness? Is that just yeah, we've got a new business and it's all newness? And I was like talking to these people and stuff, and I was like, no, the difference in them and me is they've started with strategy. They're about how does this work? Where am I going next? They have a plan. And I thought, gosh, really? I I've never had a plan. And I think as soon as I recognized that I'd never had a plan, I drifted into this, was quite a big reality check because you can get so far on a wing and a prayer. I got many, many years down the line on a wing and a prayer and earned a bit of money. It wasn't a good income by any stretch, but you can certainly do that. Is that a long-term success strategy? It depends what you want from life. If it's just a bit of extra pocket money, then I'm sure a wing and a prayer is absolutely fine. If you're trying to depend on that to pay your bills or have a lifestyle that you used to have when you were in your professional industry, there needs to be a little bit more underneath that. And then when I was going to speak to other people, particularly there's a couple of people in our industry and they were new and they were talking about their business advisor or their coach. And I was like, oh, wow, I just thought that was for the million-dollar companies. I didn't think people like us had business coaches and things. And I thought, I haven't really the budget for that. So I did a bit of digging, and in my local area, there are like funds, if you will, for there's like brand new entry businesses. And then there's growth industries, and then there's another tier, but there's certain criteria for the other tier. So I came into the growth factor, and I was actually able to have like a business mentor, if you will, for a year just to tap in. So he did a lot of the donkey work with me. He asked the questions I wasn't prepared to ask myself, or I maybe had shied away. And that thinking process of just stopping was really valuable. And I remember, I think maybe the fourth session, we sat down and there's been tears and everything. I'm sure that's not what he signed up for, but I can be in a bit emotional. So he'd always start, how are things? And I found the first three sessions I was moaning. And I remember thinking, you keep moaning. You can't keep moaning. You choose this. You're not in a job. You choose to run this business. And I thought, why am I moaning? What I've got a lot more than a lot of other people. I've got the choice to do this. And then in the fourth session, when we'd explored numerous different things, he said to me, so what are you going to do? And I thought, yeah, what am I going to do? And suddenly, instantly, it was like, yeah, I'm shutting the limited company. This structure and the way I run this business is not working. It really isn't working for anybody. It's got to go. Didn't mean to say I was going to stop tutoring, but it meant something new was going to take its place. Um, and yeah, that was it. Like within hours, I was onto my accountant, onto company's house, starting because I had staff as well at the time. So I needed to talk to them, which I'd already had conversations with them. So they kind of knew where we were heading. They
Mm.
knew that I wasn't happy. They knew the structure wasn't working because there wasn't the work coming through for them either. So they weren't thriving either. Yeah, and best day in business ever. I know that sounds bizarre, shutting your company down, but yeah, because it was the start of where I am now. The start of taking things seriously, having a plan, having a business strategy, really drilling down into the figures. And yeah, and just like, and I have the fire back, and I love the tutoring again. And I have a plan, and I have dreams, and yeah. So I think we all, I'm sure some businesses might never have, but I bet every business owner, if they're really, really honest, have those days where they think, or even weeks, and maybe even sometimes months, like me, um, where something's not right. And I think if you bury your head in the sand, it's a dangerous game. And I really should have tackled those questions much earlier than I did. But the business advisor, and I think verbalizing them, you can sit in your own thoughts forever and a day. But I think when you articulate them, there is a sense of clarity sometimes that you get. So yeah, I would, if anybody felt in the same boat, I would sort of, first of all, is sort of seek out your local authority. Is there somebody there? Is there a network of business advisors? Sometimes there's like hubs where you can go to meetings and you get even just a 10-minute chat with somebody who can take that helicopter view on what you're doing. Sometimes it's like, oh, I never looked at it from that perspective before. Yeah. But again, it's you've got to treat it like a business. Yeah,
It
even
is
if you're
one.
not in it for the, even if you're not in it for the big bucks, a business is still a business. If it's not bringing in any re financial reward,
Or
emotional reward,
safety. Yeah, this is,
safety.
yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of factors. If something's not right, it needs tackling.